This is Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, an in-depth interview with Alabama's top political newsmakers. Now, from the studios of Troy University, here is Steve Flowers.
I'm Steve Flowers, and welcome to Alabama Politics. Folks, we're fortunate tonight to have as our guest the Mayor of Montgomery, Mayor Todd Strange. Mayor, good to see you.
Thank you, Steve. Delighted to be with you. I think it's been a couple of years.
A couple of years since you were
We must
on.
have gave him a lot of information for it to go 2 years.
That's right. We've had your namesake, Luther Strange, on a couple of times.
Would he fit on this stage?
Almost barely. You know, you and I were talking before the show about stories about legendary Alabama politicians, Big Jim Folsom. I got a book coming out. I hope our viewers will look at it, called Goats and Governors, Alabama Political Stories for 60 Years. And about 10% of those stories about Big Jim Folsom.
And of the 10% of the story, how many of them are really true?
You know, Todd, I swear I think it was. I think most of them were true. You know, we talk about, you can't make that stuff up, Big Jim did. He was so uninhibited.
Right.
And for that era, he was so gregarious. You remember things about him.
I do. Matter of fact, we were just chatting about, I told you about Albert Brewer.
Yeah.
Frankly, he had some complimentary things to say about his position on segregation and integration, some of those kinds of situations. But, you know, I always hear the stories about when he got into the bottle a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he did. That he was. They say, bless his heart, they say he stayed drunk his entire second term. that you know, the governor's got to sign certain things. I mean, you got certain things.
It's a job.
It's a job. But they say run around the couch, say he's sober day, right once a week, you know. But where'd you grow up? What town?
I grew up in Mobile. I was born and raised in Mobile, and left there when I went to school up to the University of Montevallo. And George Wallace was in the governor's office then, and the only reason I really even knew him, my wife's from down in Dothan and Barber County down there, and my father-in-law was a colonel in the Guard, and he was trying to get to be a brigadier general. And Governor Wallace was having a big Sunday afternoon dinner on the ground after church service, so we all went there.
Out at the governor's mansion?
No, down in
Mobile.
No, down in Barber County.
Oh, Barber County. Now she was from Dothan, but she had some roots in Barber County.
But the Baxters.
She's kin of Buck Baxter.
I don't know about Bucks, but there were two. There were four sisters. Two of them were identical sisters in what they call Baxter Station, around Clio, Clayton.
But she was from Clio, Linda was.
Her mother was.
But she grew up in Dothan.
She grew up in Dothan.
Y'all met in Montevallo?
We did. Yep.
That's why you and Jack always went there. All the girls were there, wasn't it?
Well, Jack tells me that he came because I went there. I tell him that's not true. See, Jack and I met I was in the 8th grade. He was in the 7th grade at Sidney Phillips. And we just kind of hit it off. Frankly, Jack was from the other side of the tracks, if you will, back in those days. Crichton out of Mobile. I was in Spring Hill, but, you know, Jack just one of those.
So you grew up in Spring Hill?
I grew up in Spring Hill. Went to Mary B. Austin, Sidney Phillips. That's where we met, and then we both went to Murphy when I went.
Did y'all play sports down there?
I did. I played football, did a little wrestling, and then.
What position you played in football?
Well, I was a center and a linebacker, but I hurt my shoulder, and so in my senior year I didn't play football, but I played golf, and that's got me into the golf. And as a matter of fact, I actually went to Montevallo and played golf at Montevallo. Now Jack, he was more of a basketball player.
He's tall,
yeah. I have a fond memory of him. I was sitting on the bench, and he was out there playing. He was a year behind me. So we're good friends.
Y'all went to Murphy together.
All of that. You called it in your book.
Montevallo Mafia.
Montevallo Mafia.
Tell everybody who's in that group.
Oh, man.
Y'all were there, the three on the string guys. Tell everybody who's on that thing.
Well, let's see. The Troy guys would be Doug Patterson and Dan McCrimmon, John Schmidt.
Yeah.
Certainly Jack. And then you got Andy McGinnis, who was part of the three on the string. You got former mayor of Eufaula, would be Jay Jackson. You got Bill Cobb, who was the husband of Sue Bell Cobb.
And the real estate guy.
And then J. Danny Cooper, just Danny Cooper.
Right.
Part of Fred Crawford.
Yeah.
Bill's, not Bill, but Fred,
Fred Crawford?
Yeah, Fred Crawford.
Johnny Crawford's brother. Johnny's brother, yeah.
He's going to kill me because I couldn't remember his name. Johnny Crawford. But the truth of the matter is, now for about 25 or so years, we've been getting together on the Kentucky Derby weekend. And just 2 weeks ago, we were in Bay Point, and we had maybe 35 or 40 folks down there.
All y'all get together.
All of us. And for about 36, 40 hours, we're back at Montevallo. We're singing the old songs that Andy's doing. We're telling the same old stories. We're playing the same old bad golf. We eat the same old food. We just have a good time.
Did all those guys you just named, did they make it to that thing?
Sure. Absolutely.
Every one of y'all were down at Bay Point together.
Absolutely, yeah.
This last Kentucky Derby. Do y'all sit and watch the Derby? Y'all play golf? What do y'all do?
We do play golf, and we do watch the Kentucky Derby, and we do have some adult beverage. And we just do a lot of things. But we go to bed about 9:30, though.
Do your wives go down there with you?
No.
Y'all just you guys go down there. You and Linda been married 49 years.
49 years, yeah. I was with the governor last week, and I was introducing the First Lady, and in July, they're going to be married 50 years.
That's what I remember you were talking about that. You were at a meeting or something, and you and Bentley had been married the same
I mean, that's pretty significant, you got to admit. And I joke, although it's really true. 2 words have kept me with Linda for 49 years. It's simply, yes, ma'am. You know?
Y'all got
yes,
2 daughters, don't you?
We have 2 daughters and 5 grandkids.
All of them are here.
All of them are here and gainfully employed, doing good. And that's the beauty of it, because we don't see them every week. We certainly don't even see them every month. But when we want to, we're there. I tell you what we're doing now, though.
You go to ball games and all, don't you? I mean,
well, we go see our grandkids play ball.
Yeah, that's right.
Whether it be at St. James or whether it be Little League. But we're now into Grand Cats. We're keeping the Grand Cat. And that's just fine, because it's just like your grandkids, you know. You love them, and then you give them back.
How old are your grandchildren?
Well, let's see. The oldest would have just turned 16 this week, so she's driving. And got another one by marriage with Glenn.
Do they go to Trinity?
No, they go to St. James.
St. James,
They sure do.
And then, so you got 3 with one daughter and two with another daughter?
That's correct. The youngest is a 7-year-old, Sarah Turner, and she's the apple of all of our eyes.
Well, you go to all the stuff, though. You keep y'all busy.
We
with
try.
5 grandchildren.
We try. But you know, when you got cheerleading, and you got they're into horseback riding and competition, and then you got baseball, and you got football, you got wrestling, and you got dance. We're pretty busy.
Todd, now, when you first started your career out of Montevallo, you went with South Central
Bell Telephone.
Bell Telephone.
Correct.
Well, like now was Fred Crawford? Who else was with? Was somebody one of those guys that was Bell? Was with Bill too?
Buell Cobb, which would have been Bill's brother, as was Bill. Bill was in the political side. I was in the operational side. I spent a little time in Birmingham, a little time up in the Sheffield, Tri-Cities area. And I got back to Birmingham in about 74, 75, and got to Montgomery in 1977 with Bell Telephone.
Were you like a manager here when you first
came?
Yeah,
the regional manager, which is really good.
You weren't about 30 years old, were you?
I was 33 when I got here. And so I spent 17 years with Bell, and then Red and Went and Blunt asked me to come be with them.
The car dealership?
No. Blunt Inc.
Okay.
Blunt International Limited. I was there 9 years.
I wonder if
and then it was. Well, that was after Winton and I got into business.
So you were 17 years with the phone company, and then 9 years
with Blunt Inc., and then 10 years in the car business, and then in 2000 we sold all the businesses, and it's 2001 that I went to ADO.
Todd, I bet that was a tough decision after 17 years with your retirement with the phone company, because they got a great retirement. Yeah. But I guess it was a better offer.
Well, it was a better offer, but what was happening, if you remember, in 1983, the Bell system was being broken up. Judge Green had entered the consent decree. As a matter of fact, the day that I was going to Birmingham to tell the president that I was going to leave was the day the consent decree got signed. And so it was really the beginning of the breakup, and what was going to happen, the jobs that I had, the regional jobs in an operational sense, were really going to be more functionalized, and they were going to be reporting, and the local jobs were going to be more of the political job, more of the community job, and that wasn't, at that time, that wasn't where I wanted to be. And so I did get a really good offer to go to Blunt. And frankly,
Mr. Red was over there.
He was the head of it, and Oscar Rake was president. And I was actually working for Winton, but my responsibility was really to travel the world and kind of be a deal maker.
He was overseas, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, big time. I was in and out of Saudi Arabia a number of times, in Egypt and Kuala Lumpur. We did a lot of things. At the end, I was more involved in the development side of the equation, and we did a couple of big projects out on the West Coast and in Dayton, Ohio. And then when Winton left in 1989, I left a year later, and we started buying businesses.
Todd Strange,
Blunt Strange, yeah. And we ran those for 10 years, and then a public company, a new phenomenon came out, and Sonic Automotive wanted us more than we really wanted to stay in the business, because what they offered us, we'd have had to have had our best year for 10 years in a row to get what they offered us. So, we took it, and I invested it and went and got in politics.
What about who was the governor when you were ADO director?
Don Siegman.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was a Republican.
What year was that?
2001. Because Jim Buckalew, if you remember, was the chief of staff.
Right.
And he and I were kind of locked at the hip on the Republican side. Then when Bob Riley beat Governor Siegman, he got Neil Wade to come in, and that allowed me then to go and get into county politics. And
That's right, you were on the county commission.
Yeah, I did that
before,
5 years. I was chairman of the county commission.
That's right.
5 years. And then in 2009, when Bobby Bright got elected to Congress, is when I ran. And
I always forget about you being on the county commission for 5 years before you were mayor.
But Steve, everything that I've done has kind of been the building block to get to where I am now. The years with Bell was all about service. That back when that's all they had was service and constituencies. Obviously, the time I spent with Blunt and doing contract and negotiations, then certainly with the county, knowing what the capabilities of the county were, trying to marry the county and the city functions. And so now that I'm in this job, I use a lot of that experience as to try to bring people together. It's all about partnerships. There's not enough money for any one entity to get it all done. You got to have partnerships, and we've tied up with the county. When I was at the county, we tied up with the city, and in economic development, we've got a lot of things that we do jointly. Now, everybody says, well, what about this metro government? You're not going to get to metro government. And the reason you're not going to get to metro government is the chief law enforcement officer would have to be the sheriff, because it's a constitutional office. No mayor is going to agree to have an elected official be in charge of your police department.
Nashville's the only place I know of in the South that has that, is it not?
Oh, no, there are lots of others.
Are there?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, okay.
But they don't have a situation where the police chief doesn't report to the mayor. In Montgomery,
so you have a lot of people saying they want metro government?
Oh, sure, because you can save a lot of money, but it's not going to happen here. What is happening is we are jointness. Like our IT organization is City County IT, our risk management is City County risk management, our communications is City County, our human resources is City County. So there are a lot of things that you can combine together and save millions of dollars, but you don't have to have metro government.
Todd, it was tough to decide you're going to run again for a third term?
Yeah, I'm.
London wants some time.
I'm getting to that golden age that we just talked about, and statistically, I've got X number of years, or actuarially, I should say, I've got X number of years, and you really want to do it. But really, when you look at what's gone on the last 6 years, it's been during this great recession, and our revenue stream has really not been sufficient to do all the things that we wanted to do. Now it looks like it's beginning to improve, and we're able to do some things that we've been planning to do, but now we've got the wherewithal to do it. There's just so many projects out there that are right in the middle of being executed, one or two or three that are right at the beginning, and so we felt like that we'd offer ourselves for service just to see those projects through. And third parties just give us a lot of good high marks about our economic status, our historic, our things that we've done on Dexter Avenue, things we've done on Commerce Street, things we've done at East Chase. One of the things that people don't think about, Whole Foods. Whole Foods puts you apart from all the rest when Whole Foods decides to come to your city, because they don't come to schlock cities. And we've got that coming, and we've got 400 residential units coming downtown. We've got a couple of new hotels coming to downtown. We've got.
Have you announced those yet, have you?
We've announced the fact that we're in negotiation with some of those.
Downtown hotels?
Downtown hotels. Of course, you know, it's not big news to have one out at Eastchase. We just had grand opening, one out at Eastchase just in the last couple of weeks. But we actually have conversations going with 6 different hotel chains. We don't need 6. We don't want 6. But a couple of them that would add about 250 to 300 rooms gets us to the next level. Last year, during all of 2014, we had the highest hotel occupancy rate of the major cities in the state of Alabama, because of the historic city status we got, because of All-American City, because of the per capita income, because of the Camellia Bowl, because of all the sports things that we've done.
That Camellia Bowl was a real success, isn't it?
It was a great success, and the way we measure that is $25 million more were spent on goods and services in December of 2014 than 2013. $25 million more, which is about 800,000 direct dollars.
Todd, who decides what teams are selected for that?
The conference.
Is that locally decided?
No, it's not. Sunbelt Conference.
Okay.
Sunbelt Conference. We have an agreement with Sunbelt to get the 3rd or 4th team from Sunbelt, and then this is ESPN owned, and so there's a bowl selection committee, just like they select who's going to be in the Sugar Bowl and the Orange Bowl and all the rest of those
bowls. But it's got to be a Sunbelt and a what other conference?
Got Sunbelt and the Big Mac.
What about you know that Spring Hill Mobile, not Spring Hill, but the college in Mobile, South Alabama.
Yeah, South Alabama.
That helped a lot, didn't it?
It helped a great deal, because we had about 6,000 people coming up here.
That's one of the main reasons.
Exactly, because they had been at the GoDaddy previously in Mobile. This was an opportunity for them to come, and to have Bowling Green out of Ohio to come here.
They brought a big fan base.
They brought a good fan base. We had a good slot. We had a couple of million people watching it. You know, they saw not only a great game, but they saw Montgomery at its finest.
The Sell Montgomery thing has brought a lot.
It did.
That figures you're using for 14, wasn't it? So your 15 may even be bigger.
Well, are you talking about the Camellia Bowl in 15?
No, this is 15. Your numbers for your occupancy for your hotels.
All of 14.
Was 14. You don't have the 15 numbers.
Well, I have them through March of this year.
Oh.
And they are good. Birmingham is a bit ahead of us, only because in 14 the legislature was there in January. If you remember, they came here later this year, so we didn't have January, February legislators, and many of them stay in hotels, as you well know.
They sure do, yeah.
So at the end of the day, we'll probably end up. But just going to the Selma Montgomery March, the 50th anniversary, the hotels were full, but that was kind of a weekend event. It wasn't a whole week kind of event, and so only $21 million additional of goods and services were spent in March of 15 than March of 14.
You know, one time when you were on, like a couple of years ago, last time you were on, I was sitting here talking about the demise in the state government, how many state employees have been cut, and I made the statement just absent-mindedly, well, I guess that's the biggest employer in Montgomery. Then you quickly made me aware, and I've quoted you several times on this. I don't think people are aware. And I said, remember, I said in the conversation was, you said, no, state employees not number one in Montgomery. Everybody in the state would assume the state government is the biggest employer. Maxwell Gunner.
Maxwell Gunner is.
And then Hyundai second.
Well, and the hospitals. Baptist Hospital is huge as well. But going back to the state, there are about 32,000 employees statewide. About 12% of that will be in Montgomery. And so when you cut state government by 10% that they claim they've done, I mean, that's laying off or retiring a number of people. That's why we've had a little difficulty moving in the direction on our sales tax. Give you, for instance, when I got there in 09, the previous year we had $96 million in sales tax. Immediately in the next 2 years, which was the beginning of the Great Recession, we fell to $84 million. $14 million.
Is that your biggest revenue sales tax?
Absolutely, absolutely.
What's y'all's total budget?
228 million.
And 90 million comes from the sales tax.
96 million. Then, but let me just tell you, we have fought our way back, and in fiscal 2014, we got the 96 million. We're projected, we've got 7 months data, hopefully the next 5 months will be good. We could be as high as 102, 103. So it'll be the first time since '09 that we would have been above that 96 range. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that state workers were being laid off. Sequestration was in the equation. Now, Hyundai never closed or never really laid anybody off. They went to 3-day weeks every now and again, so they were pretty stable. But our unemployment today is in the 5.6 range, down from about 12.5%.
It was as high as
12.5%.
You think Montgomery had a resiliency against unemployment because of the government?
It was. It wasn't 20%, 15% that others were. But if you'll remember, though, when people get laid off or furloughed, they don't have the wherewithal to do the things that they did. And that's what was happening at Maxwell and Gunter.
Todd, one thing we got off on about the Maxwell Gunter thing, which is just not knowing how the city economy worked. Not only are there a lot of people employed there, but a lot of those folks retire here.
They do.
And they're good citizens.
They're great citizens. They're good retirement. Good retirement. But in addition to the military and the civilian that work on the bases, there are probably another 1,500 contract workers that are with the IT companies that really support Gunter. We had this conversation just last week. I asked somebody, I said, what makes Huntsville a gig city or a cyber city? And the answer is they promote it. Well, we've got almost as much capability as Huntsville does, but ours is all at Gunter, which is top secret stuff. So we really don't talk about that. Although we're now in a position to begin to leverage what we have in the military into the commercial sector. And it's all about getting the fiber pipes in here to begin to move from the government, the military side, to the commercial side. You need that connectivity.
One thing, we only got about 5 minutes. Our time goes by so fast. I know you've got a lot of projects in the works that you want to get done in a third term, but the interesting part, just most time I come to East Chase and downtown, you mentioned a while ago, let's talk about the downtown development, because I'm kind of interested now. This is where I come most of the time. Not I'm being selfish about my presence. You said 4,000 residencies on the downtown area?
400.
400, okay, 400
that are under construction today. Now, there is a study that says we can stand as many as 3,400 additional units downtown. The next phase will be the grocery store. Once you get to a 12 or 1,500 person cadre, then you're going to get that grocery store. What we have not been able to do are the condominiums. And so what we have now are 2 buildings under contract where there'll be commercial retail on the bottom. They may be some rentals in between, but the top 2 or 3 floors in a 12, 14-story building will be condominiums, and that's the next phase of that. As you go up,
you're excited about those, right?
I'm very excited. I'm excited about the fact that we've got these construction activities going on. If you hadn't been on Dexter Avenue recently, you just ought to drive down.
I just walked it. That street looks good.
$6.8 million.
That sidewalk looks good. I just walked it from here at Rosa Parks up to the Capitol just before you got down here, just from exercise. And I hadn't seen the sidewalks. The sidewalks look great.
Sidewalks, the streetscape. We've got 5 restaurants coming in on that lower block of Dexter Avenue on the south side. We got the Crest building that's on the north side. It's in contract right now. It's under construction, and it's probably, all told, it's probably going to be $30 or $40 million.
It'll be a joint, like you said. It'll be a downtown store, a restaurant or something.
It'll be several.
Okay,
several
in the Crest building.
In the Crest building. Plus, there's going to be 30 apartments on top of Crest. They're building 2 floors.
Are those going to be rental or ownership?
Those will be rental initially, but depending upon the market, they could very easily flip to the condo market. It just, you don't want to go whole hog. You want to kind of step your way in, because about 15 years ago, the condos tried the Ice House, Titus Gun Shop. You remember that area around there? it never really caught on. And so nobody wants to go in without knowing that that market's going to succeed.
You know, that's sort of a trend nationwide that y'all are riding.
Coming back downtown.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Birmingham's trying to push the same thing with that park and the ball field there.
Right.
Y'all have a big following with the biscuits, so it builds around a lot of that.
Guess where they got that idea? The developer is from Montgomery. We had lots
same
of
thing they do in Birmingham.
We had lots of conversations. Huntsville's been down here. Mobile's been here. You know, we did it earlier on. Bobby Bright had the vision, and I just tried to keep on with it, particularly the alley and that whole entertainment district.
The biscuits are popular in Montgomery.
Very popular. We'll have anytime, 3,000 or so folks there. The biscuits name was voted the best name in all of minor league baseball. Beat out the Lansing Lugnuts.
What is their major? What is their team?
Tampa Bay.
Oh, Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you follow many of them and go? They make it to the.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, Longoria. There are lots of people that do that. Matter of fact, we've got the Southern League All Stars here in June, I think it is. Sherry Myers is the owner of that franchise, and when we all go down there, we don't really know who they're playing. We don't even know what inning it is, and certainly don't know what the score is. But it's just a good entertainment venue for the entire family.
Everybody loves it. What typical demographic is drawing into the downtown apartment condo? Young professionals?
Young professionals, but also a lot of state employees, particularly those appointees, a lot of the young attorneys that are here working for the Supreme Court, working for the federal court, they're here for a year or two.
Right.
And we've got a few retirees now that are moving back down, want to downsize and being able to come in. You'd be shocked if you looked above Charlie's Trophy, you'd see $1 million, 4,000 square foot apartment condo there done by a particular owner. And there's another one right next door to it being done right now.
Won't be downtown Montgomery. Well, Todd,
it'll be cool.
It really will be. Especially get a grocery store.
That'll be the
key. That'll be the key.
But we've actually got 2 or 3 that claim that they've got some food stuffs, and they do. But there's a new Publix deal. There's a new Walmart, and we've had a lot of controversy about Walmart. These are downtown prototypes that we have been chatting with, and everybody tells us we need 12 to 1,500, and we're right at that 1,000 mark.
Well, you're doing a good job as mayor, but our time's up, Todd.
Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate you allowing me to do this, and hopefully your book will be successful, and I look forward to getting a copy.
You'll enjoy the stories. They're not the stories you and I have heard around Alabama politics all of our life, and I wanted them told before I passed away.
And you embellished them a little bit, though, didn't you?
Well, a little bit here and there. Big Jim didn't have to embellish them too much. Folks, our guest today has been Montgomery Mayor Todd Strange. Todd's running for re-election, y'all, on August 25th. Mayor's race here in Montgomery. We appreciate him taking time to be with us on Alabama politics. We hope our viewers will watch next week. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Todd.
Thanks, Steve.